So in late 2025, Cyclone Ditwah hit Sri Lanka. And yeah, it was a catastrophe. But the real story here, it's not just about the wind and the rain. It's about how this disaster was, well, tragically predictable. This storm exposed some huge cracks in the country's defenses, and these were cracks that had been there for a long, long time. Okay, so first, let's just try to get our heads around the sheer scale of what happened when Ditwah made landfall. I mean, the impact was immediate, it was widespread, and it was just devastating. We're talking over 631 people lost their lives, and hundreds more were missing. This wasn't just another storm, you know? Cyclone Ditwah actually became the deadliest natural disaster to hit Sri Lanka since that catastrophic Indian Ocean tsunami way back in 2004. And the economic toll? It was just staggering. We're looking at damages over $1.6 billion. But you know, a number like that, it's more than just money, right? It's thousands of homes destroyed, roads completely washed out, a power grid totally brought to its knees. And then, of course, there's the human side of it all. Over 200,000 people were forced out of their homes with absolutely nowhere to go. I mean, if you saw the images from that time, flooded hospitals, evacuation centers just overflowing, it was a picture of a nation in absolute crisis. But here's the really wild part. Meteorologically speaking, Ditwah was only a weak cyclonic storm. So why was the damage so immense? To figure that out, we have to look past the weather itself and really dig into the systems that were supposed to protect people on the ground. Because the heart of this tragedy, it really wasn't about the storm's power. It was about the failure of the systems designed to protect people from it. So let's break down what actually went wrong during the response. So on the ground, frontline workers were just facing chaos. Disaster governance was totally fragmented. You had health agencies and disaster agencies that just weren't talking to each other. What does that mean? It means officials had no real-time data. Responders were literally forced to piece together information informally. There was just no unified system to take a weather forecast and turn it into a specific life-saving warning for a local community. And that right there, that created this massive gap. See, in an ideal world, the response would be guided by these integrated dashboards, right? A single source of truth that everyone can see. But the reality? The reality was a broken system where critical, life-saving data was trapped in all these different silos. It made a coordinated response, well, pretty much impossible. So this all leads to a really crucial question. Were these fatal flaws something new? And the answer is not only no, but it's a shocking no. Because these exact problems had been documented in painful detail years and years earlier. Yeah, there's a key piece of evidence that shows these systemic failures weren't new at all. In fact, the alarm bell had been rung loud and clear almost 2 decades before. It all goes back to this one document, a 2007 report sponsored by USAID. Now, remember, this was written in the wake of the 2004 tsunami. Its entire purpose was to analyze Sri Lanka's disaster preparedness and pinpoint the exact weaknesses that needed to be fixed. And here's what it found. The 2007 report warned, and I'm quoting here, of an ad hoc practice in disaster management that was leading to bureaucratic infighting and confusion. Now, I want you to pay really close attention to that phrase, ad hoc. Okay, now let's jump forward to 2025. This next quote is from an analysis written right after Cyclone Ditwah, and it describes the system as fragmented and linked by, you guessed it, ad hoc coordination. It's the exact same phrase, the exact same flaw, identified 18 years apart. Just incredible. When you lay it out on a timeline like this, the story becomes painfully clear. 2004, a massive disaster prompts a full review. 2007, that review delivers a crystal clear warning. But then, for 18 years, those fundamental weaknesses just weren't fixed. And so, in 2025, the predictable tragedy finally happened. Okay, so where does Sri Lanka go from here? The good news is the analysis done after Cyclone Ditwah doesn't just point fingers. It actually points towards some really clear, actionable solutions for the future. The core idea is something called digital fortification. Now, this isn't just about, buying a bunch of new computers. It's about building a smarter, more connected response system, one that can actually anticipate what's needed before things get critical instead of always just reacting after the fact. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it pretty much boils down to 2 key steps. Step 1, build one single integrated platform so that all the agencies, we're talking health, disaster management, local government, are all looking at the exact same real-time picture of the crisis. And step 2, create a system that connects weather data with health data. Smart, right? And let's be really clear here. This is not about replacing the incredible people working on the front lines. It's about empowering them. It's about finally giving them the smart, effective tools they desperately need to save lives when every single second counts. You know, when you boil it all down, the story of Cyclone Ditwah is just this powerful, tragic lesson. The deadliest force in a natural disaster often isn't the storm or the flood itself, it's the strength, or in this case, the weakness, of the human systems we built to protect ourselves. And that leaves us with one final, unavoidable question. A tragedy on this scale forces a country to make a choice. Is this just going to be remembered as another disaster, or will its painful, hard-won lessons finally become the blueprint for a safer, more resilient future?